Hello and welcome everyone who is joining our webinar today here at Koç University. We're just going to wait for 1 minute to make sure that everyone who has registered for today's session can join us. In the meantime, I will start doing some short introductions. We are recording the webinar so that people who are not able to join us live today will be able to watch it later, and we hope it will be a very good opportunity to catch up with all things Koç University, our fall 2024 admissions updates, and ask any questions you may have from our team. So for the introductions part, my name is Melissa Abache. I'm the Director of International Student Recruitment here at Koç University, and I'm also joined today by our wonderful, international student recruitment colleagues. So I will ask them to briefly open their microphones and also introduce themselves.
Hello everyone. This is Ahmed from the Global Admissions Office at Koç University. My region is the MENA region, and I would like to welcome all of you. And I will be here, of course, as a panelist answering all your questions.
Thank you, Ahmed.
Sure.
Hello, everyone. My name is Arina. I'm responsible for our agent partnerships in the CIS region. And welcome everyone to the webinar. Hopefully, it will be very useful for you to learn everything about the updates on our fall 2024 undergraduate requirements and the admission criteria. You can also ask your questions in the Q&A section here. We will be helping and replying them while Melissa Hanım will make the info session. Welcome again.
Thank you very much, Arina and Ahmed, for introducing yourselves. So I think it's a good time now to get started. And I know everyone who is joining us is extremely busy because you have already started working with your students to prepare and advise on their applications for this upcoming fall, not only in Turkey, but other countries. So I'm just going to very, very briefly, I won't talk about why Turkey or Istanbul is a good choice for your students. Many of you already have been here, know the country very well. Just some quick updates that in terms of visa and student residence permit, there have been some changes this year that were announced by the Higher Education Council of Turkey and the Immigration Directorate of Turkey, especially with regards to the student residence permit procedures. The main change, just to summarize it, is that from now onwards, the student residence permit applications will be fully handled by the international offices of the university. So the students need to provide all of the required documents and information to specific teams at each university, and then they will submit the paperwork to the immigration office. Again, this is all things that have to be done after the students have arrived and have completed their online registration in a Turkish university, including Koç University, of course, but we just wanted to give you that update. This makes it a bit easier for students because they do not have to go necessarily in person to the immigration office, for example, here in Istanbul. And of course, at Koç University, we have a dedicated team, and I will talk a little bit about them afterwards, that will handle that whole process. And they have very good information websites and emails and orientation sessions so that your students will not feel lost and will know what to prepare when and make sure that they don't have any issues in this regard. Their website is shown on the screen, is ico.ku.edu.tr. If you want to check in more detail everything that I've just said, of course, you can go there and check that. Now, just a very brief recap about Koç University and why we're a great option for your students. Of course, that we offer all of our programs with just a couple of exceptions in English. So that means that students do not need to learn Turkish in order to come and complete their undergraduate degrees here or master's programs, for example. Of course, the most important part of why students choose us is our academic excellence in both teaching and research. And this is because of the very high quality of professors that we have in our university in every measure. This is why we're also the only university in Turkey that has an outstanding medical school alongside many other colleges of very high caliber. So in our case, when people ask us, what's Koç known for? What is it good at? Or what's, its kind of most prominent subject, it's very hard to say because it not only our medical school is very good, but also every other college and department at our university is amongst the best in Turkey and in the region, and in some cases worldwide. We like to offer a very boutique and very dedicated and tailored learning experience for students, and that also partly depends on keeping our small or class sizes very small. This is why you see that for some programs in our university, such as medicine and some in the humanities or basic sciences, we have enrollment quotas both for domestic and international students that are very small compared to other Turkish universities, and this is the reason. We want to make sure that students have a really high quality experience as learners. We are a research-intensive university, and this presents several advantages to international students who join us in terms of exposure to research and opportunities after graduation in academia, in terms of continuing their study journeys into master and PhD programs, but also in terms of job opportunities after graduation. I will talk a little bit more about our campus because we know it's important not only for students, but for families as well. And you may get questions about this in terms of our offering for international students. Rankings, of course, just some quick updates. We don't put too much emphasis on this because it shouldn't be the only measure or the only reason why your students choose to come to the university. But in that regard, we have seen an improvement from last year to this year. We're now ranked in the top 400 universities worldwide, according to Times Higher Education. We continue our very high ranking in terms of young university rankings. And when it comes to specific subjects, we continue a very good, showing a very good ranking placement in specific subjects such as social sciences, engineering, business, clinical and health, in which we are now, in some cases, in the top 200 universities worldwide. So in terms of the experience that your students will have at our university, the main thing to remember is that our location, which is on the European side of Istanbul, very close to the Black Sea, offers a residential campus experience. So it is very far from the city center. If you're going, of course, by car, for example, and considering the amount of traffic that we have in Istanbul as a large metropolitan city. But at the same time is well connected to public transport options. So that's why we make sure that we can offer everything they need within our campus, including dormitories, sports facilities, libraries, shopping, places to eat, and everything else they may need. Copy center, bookshop, coffee shops, of course, bank branches, supermarkets. So everything they need on a daily basis, they can find on campus. What I just showed before is just a glimpse of our main campus, as I said, located in Rumeli Feneri in Sarıyer. But we also have our health campus, which is the Koç University Hospital. This is where our School of Medicine is located and our Graduate School of Health Sciences. And this is also a facility for all international students. Besides our main health center located on the main campus, they also have access to all of the medical facilities offered here at Koç University Hospital. This hospital is not located immediately close to the main campus. It's about half an hour by car, a bit more by public transport, but we do have regular shuttles that take both staff and students between the two campuses on a daily basis. Dorms, as we said, it's important for, of course, students and especially sometimes for parents. So we do offer a variety of room types. The one we don't like to really talk about that much here, it's single rooms, because we do have single rooms, but they're offered on, on exceptional cases if students have no other choice due to medical reasons or other reasons to share a room. So the most common type of room that we have in our dormitories are shared rooms, as you see that they can be double, triple, quadruple, or 5-person rooms. They're single gender buildings. The payment is in one installment at the beginning of each academic year. The fees that you see on the screen will be updated around end of May or early June this year. We expect there will be a significant increase due to the very high inflation rate that's still, affecting us, I would say, in Turkey. So this is something to keep in mind. The process for applying to stay at the dormitories it's still as in previous years. During the month of August, once students have received their acceptance offers, have completed their first semester tuition payment, and of course, they will receive all information about how to apply, deadlines, and so on from our team in due course. As I mentioned, one of the main reasons, of course, that students choose to come to Koç University is that it's a very well-recognized degree, both within Turkey and outside Turkey, and the numbers speak for themselves. So we conduct a survey of our graduates every 2 years done by an independent company, and the statistics couldn't be better. Of course, we always want to improve, but we're very proud of the fact that 95% of those who are surveyed report that they have received job offers in the first 6 months after graduation. And, I think impressively 64% received job offers before or just during their graduation period as undergraduate students. This survey also includes international students, although they're, a very small percentage of the total survey size, but it gives you an indication of the value of a Koç University degree. And of course, it depends on each student to make use of the opportunities for career support and career advancement that we offer. But it is a very well-recognized degree with, very large companies in Turkey as well as outside of Turkey. And our Career Development Center puts a lot of effort into constantly organizing events and opportunities for our students to be aware and engage with companies in Turkey. Now, very briefly to recap in terms of our academic offer, you can see here our list of undergraduate programs, which are organized around 7 different colleges. We have highlighted in yellow those programs that we want to point, to put in front of you as our valued agency partners, because we feel that there's potential to really recruit more students, more international students to these programs, where there are more opportunities for better or higher, merit-based scholarships. And I will talk about this a bit later. And that we try to really give some career advice to students so that they know that there's options other than business, engineering, or medicine, because the programs that I've highlighted here also have excellent career prospects in terms of graduation, after graduation, job placements, in terms of longer-term career opportunities, but it seems that not many students and families are aware of this. So we're asking for your support in terms of spreading the word about the wonderful opportunities that some of these colleges are offering. We offer these undergraduate programs that I showed before, but sometimes you may get questions from students such as, I want to study aerospace engineering, or I want to study marketing, or I want to study diplomacy, or I want to study AI. Of course, this is the hottest topic nowadays in many students' minds. So we may not offer those as degrees, as bachelor degrees, but we offer track programs. And it means that if they choose to do one of those tracks, for example, in artificial intelligence, they take a specific group of elective courses during the 4 years of their studies, and their transcripts are going to show that they have completed successfully a track in, for example, artificial intelligence or marketing or finance or user experience or design. Okay, so there's many tracks that they can look for, and of course we're happy to provide more information if any of your students have questions about them. Now let's talk about admissions, and we just wanted to use today's session to give you the main updates compared to last year, if you have been our partner for more than a year, of course, or if you're a new partner, to know how we do admissions, international admissions here at Koç University. So the main thing to always remember is that at Turkish universities, there's only one intake for undergraduate programs each year, which is for the fall. Okay, there's no spring or February intake or January intake as in other countries. The application period in the case of Koç University starts very early. So we open our applications in January, 1st of January, they're open now, and we close them in July, okay? For medicine, it's a compressed 1-month application period during the month of June, due to the very large number of applications that we receive, and that it's a very small cohort that gets selected every year. We also have a late application period that may run until the end of August, especially for students who wish to apply with their final IB or A-level grades. For example, if they want to retake their SAT tests, after the first or second try. But the only caveat or the only disadvantage of submitting an application during this period is that they wouldn't be eligible to apply for student dormitory accommodation on campus. They would need to look for off-campus accommodation options. We have an application fee that is charged in Turkish lira, but still it's equivalent to approximately $20. And we have a lot of guidance for both you and your students on our website, which is international.ku.edu.tr. So our admissions process, it's very similar to those of selective universities in the US, and it's holistic, meaning that there isn't a single document or information that determines whether a student is accepted or rejected. However, we do have minimum scores in terms of the eligible university entrance exams. And what happens is that during the first eligibility check, all students that are below that minimum score are automatically rejected. Those who are above the minimum scores then are sent to the admissions committee of the relevant college, for example, College of Engineering, College of Administrative Sciences, and so on, for their evaluation. That evaluation process typically takes about 3 weeks. And then those students who are offered admission receive an offer letter that also includes any scholarship details if they have been awarded a merit-based scholarship. And those who are rejected also then receive their rejection letters. Students then have a specific deadline to pay their first semester tuition fee. One thing that has changed from last year to this year is that in terms of our internal processes and based also on feedback that we receive from parents and students, we have this year implemented 2 specific weeks, one in the last week of April, one in the last week of July, when students can pay their first semester tuition fee. So, of course, this will also be on our website and communicated to the offer holders in their offer letter. After they have completed their first semester tuition fee, they can complete the online enrollment process. There's no need to come to the university to enroll. Everything is done through an online matriculation form. And then they also are invited to apply for dormitories if they have indicated that they want to stay in the student dormitories. Now, going back to the application requirements, there are some important changes from last year that we wanted to let you know about. So there's mandatory documents that are still the same as before. So one of them is a standardized university admission exam or diploma score. And I will show again what are our minimum scores in some of those that are eligible. The high school transcripts, this means that there should be for the year 9, 10, 11, and up to the first semester of year 12, if the education system of the country that you're in goes through year 12. If it goes through year 11, that's also okay. It just needs to cover the first semester of the last year. And one big change from last year, so please remember this, is that we do now require students to include a valid English proficiency exam result in their application. Until last year, we were allowing students to submit their applications without an English proficiency exam, and then they would, if they were offered admission, they would be offered a conditional admission to bring the missing English test by the online registration deadline. However, this logistically has caused a lot of issues, both for the students and the university, so the decision was made to request this document from the start. So we do have a list of eligible tests, which you can see there, and I will show what the minimums are in a couple of slides later. And one thing that hasn't changed is the requirement to complete a video interview, which is recorded, is not live with a member of a faculty member or a member of our team. Students are shown a question from a pool of questions, and then they need to answer that question. It's not a knowledge-based interview. It's to basically have proof of their English proficiency, specifically speaking skills, and just an idea of how they structure their thoughts. So there isn't a way of knowing beforehand what question they will be asked. The best preparation that we can tell you to advise your students is to just practice answer, for example, job interview questions in front of the mirror and making sure that they are not nervous, that they can answer them under 2 minutes. It's okay if they stutter, if it's okay if they pause, just to make sure that the nerves don't get the best of them. One big change is that there are some documents that used to be mandatory, but now have become optional. So these are the motivation letter, recommendation letters, and extracurricular activities. However, of course, if they're applying to very competitive programs and in specific colleges, we still recommend candidates to include extracurricular activities like evidence of any achievements they've had, participation or an interest in the subject or in the discipline that they want to study, as well as a motivation letter if there's irregularities in, for example, their high school grades, or there is a reason why they want to apply that should be known to the admissions committee, then we still recommend students to include a motivation letter. One thing you may not be aware of, but we would really like you to use this as a resource, is we're not able to answer questions such as, if my student has an SAT score of 1,350, would they be admitted to computer engineering? Unfortunately, we cannot answer that question because the decision to admit a candidate is not made by our team and is not made, as I said, on the basis of just one data point, meaning the SAT score, but on the basis of all the information that the applicant has included. However, we can start to see data from every cohort that has entered the university, and we have provided information about that cohort in our admission statistics page, which is available on our website. So there you can see, for example, not only the nationalities of the students who were admitted to the most recent cohort from fall 2023, but also, for example, what was the most popular standardized exam or diploma score. As you can see there, it's the font is tiny, but I hope you can see it, is the SAT. It doesn't mean, for example, that if your student doesn't have an SAT score that they shouldn't apply if they have one of the other eligible scores with a score above the minimum. But for example, for those who will be applying with an SAT score and they want to study, for example, engineering, so the median SAT total score for our College of Engineering for the most recent cohort was 1,430. If they have a score above that, that's great. If they have a score below that, it doesn't mean they're going to be rejected, but it should give them an indication that they need to make sure that everything else in their application, such as their high school grades, extracurriculars, should be very good in order to have a better chance of admission. Okay, doesn't mean guaranteed admission, it means a better chance. Right, so now onto our minimum scores. Here you can see what are the minimum scores for the SAT, ACT, AP courses. The acronyms that you see on the screen correspond to each of the colleges. And of course, this is also all available on our website. There haven't been any major changes in terms of the minimum scores. What you just need to keep in mind is that there is no rush to submit an application right now. If the student currently has, for example, an SAT that it's below the minimum for a specific college, it's much better if they just take the time, prepare better, and take the SAT again before the July deadline that we have. We also have a growing number of candidates who apply with International Baccalaureate or GCSE A levels, final or predicted. These are eligible, and you can see there the scores by college as well. We often get the question if the student will apply with predicted IB or A-level grades if it's advisable to also include an SAT test score. The answer is quite hard to give because what we have also seen is that the grading system for both IB and A levels is coming back to the pre-pandemic kind of system. So what we have seen in the past 3 years has been very good candidates who have very good grades, but then the final grades do not match the predicted grades. And then this means that they are not able to enroll at our university because they had received a conditional admission offer. So if your students are not very confident that they're going to have the same final grade as their predicted grades, or their school typically, inflates grades a little bit, then it makes sense to prepare for and take the SAT or ACT test, but otherwise they can apply just with their IB or A-level predicted grades. I talked about our English proficiency exam being now a mandatory document to submit the application. So here you can see the minimum scores for TOEFL 80, for Pearson 67, for Cambridge Certificate of Advanced English CAE or CPE, a grade of C or above. IELTS is still not accepted by the Higher Education Council of Turkey, or YÖK, that's the acronym in Turkish. So unfortunately, we are not able to accept it. We do recognize that, of course, many students are preparing or have already taken the IELTS test. If they have an IELTS test, they can still include it in their application, but they will need to provide a TOEFL test score or a Pearson test score at the end of the day. So this is why it's important that you advise them in this regard. If for financial, difficulties, the student cannot afford to take an additional test, please communicate this to us so that we can consult with our registrar's office to see if it's possible, not to make an exception, but to see if we can support them in some way for the student to still take one of the eligible exam results. One thing you may also want to communicate to your students is that if they are applying with an IB, AP, or A-level grades, and they obtain a final grade, which is at the top end of the score range, for example, an IB subject in physics, math, or chemistry with a grade of 7, they can request to our registrars to be exempted from taking equivalent first-year courses in physics, maths, chemistry, and in some cases also biology. We have also started to recognize as eligible university admission exams some national university exams, such as the one from Russia, from India, an undergraduate degree, of course, from the US, or, for example, a Canadian high school diploma. There are several others from Bulgaria, from Malaysia, from Australia, that we have also on our website. So I invite you to check our How to Apply page, because we have the full list of eligible national exams there. We're going to talk now about the cost of education at Koç University. So the tuition fees for the upcoming 2024-2025 academic year have not changed from last year. They're still $21,500. And for medicine, $29,500. However, you do need to inform your students that because, this is Turkey is a country that is still experiencing a very high inflation rate. Not only Koç University, but several other universities in Turkey have had to, for example, increase the tuition fees for their current students to basically, be able to budget properly and do everything they need to do. So there isn't a guarantee that the tuition amount that they start in their first year will be maintained throughout the 4 years, or for example, in the case of medicine, there's 6 years of study. So this will be adjusted every year according to inflation. This is very important to keep in mind and to discuss with the students' families to make sure that they are confident and they have a proper plan in terms of how to afford the tuition fees if these increases are significant, or if the situation in the country where they're originally from, for example, if there is very large dollar devaluations, like local currency devaluations against the dollar, how it will affect their ability to pay the tuition fees each semester. One thing to keep in mind here is, of course, these are yearly tuition fees, and students pay this amount in 2 installments. So half of it in the first semester, the other half in the second semester. There's no installment plans for international students, which are available for domestic students. So students need to make sure that they're able to also pay half of this amount at the beginning of the first semester and at the beginning of the second semester. The cost of living in Istanbul, of course, it's still more affordable than most traditional destinations, especially large cities in the US, in the UK, and some capital cities in Europe, but it has seen an increase, of course, in line with inflation. So we advise students to think about this cost when they're preparing their educational budget, because for accommodation, this may range between $4,000 to $10,000 per year if they're considering campus accommodation. Off-campus accommodation options, of course, can vary between those ranges, be a bit cheaper, be a more expensive, depending on the area of the city that they want to live in, and if they're sharing or not sharing an apartment or a room with others. Food still is relatively affordable, as well as health costs and insurance costs. Study materials, though, because most of them maybe, especially textbooks, maybe imported, they will still be quite expensive. But our library, for example, has started a very successful textbook swap program to help students to reduce the costs of purchasing textbooks. Now we're talking about scholarships, because this is something we're very proud of being able to offer to international students based on academic merit. So all applicants, once they submit an application, they will be evaluated for a scholarship. So there's no separate form, no separate deadline, no separate process to be following up. They apply for admission to the program and automatically they're evaluated for a tuition scholarship. Merit-based also means that regardless of the student's financial situation, they will be evaluated for it and is not based on one single element, as I mentioned before, such as their SAT score or their high school GPA or their motivation letter. It's done on a holistic basis. The scholarships only cover tuition, so they do not include costs such as dormitories, books, meals, or other expenses. And the great thing is that these are for the duration of their studies. So 4 years of studies, there's a maximum number of semesters. And for example, if the student decides to do a double major, which means that they have to extend their period of education by a semester or 2 semesters, they can submit a petition to the academic council to also have their scholarship extended for that extra study period. There are no scholarships for our School of Medicine, so this is very, very important that you communicate to your students who are interested in our medicine program, that they should be aware that there are no opportunities to be awarded a scholarship upon admission, nor after starting. Even if they have a perfect GPA and they're the best medicine student we have ever seen, they cannot apply for a tuition scholarship after they enroll as students at the university. The type of merit scholarships that we award can be full, meaning 100%, and thus the student does not pay any tuition for 4 years, or of 75%, 50%, or 25%. For outstanding students, for example, the number of full tuition scholarships are very small, okay? So it's about 2% of our total admitted cohort. But we do have more, I would say, because we have very good students who apply to us, then we're able to also, the deans of the colleges are, are able to award 75% scholarships, in which case the tuition amount per year becomes extremely affordable because we're, again, under the $10,000 tuition range. So what happens after the student, if one of your students applies and there is offered acceptance, they should know that our team specifically will be sending them several information emails before they arrive to make sure they know what to do at each point and what to expect, okay? This is including pre-arrival webinars, joining a specific mobile application to start meeting their future classmates and asking questions from existing Koç University students, how to apply for dormitories, how to apply for the high school equivalency letter, which is a specific requirement for students who join Turkish universities, how to prepare the documents to submit for the student residence permit, and then some support information about mental health, well-being, and how to prepare for orientation week. So they will receive emails from us between April and September, informing them of this. And so it's very, very important that all students that you advise have access to the email address that their applications have been created with on the system so that they don't miss out on any crucial information. We also have an admitted students page, which has all the information of when they're supposed to pay their tuition, how, the amounts, what to do at each step of the way. As I mentioned, we're offering all of our admitted students access to Going Connect, which is an app for students before they join university. So it's a great way for them to reduce the anxiety of starting university, and they will receive an invitation to join them. After they arrive, they will then be in the hands of our International Community Services Office, or ICO. And they, as I mentioned, they will be helping them with all the bureaucratic processes. Before arrival, for example, if they need a visa to enter Turkey, they will be the ones providing visa support letters and following up if needed with the relevant Turkish consulate or embassy. And after arrival, they will provide all of the orientation services to know about residence permit, how to register the address, how to open a bank account, get a tax number, register a SIM card, all of these things. These are all, of course, explained in a lot of detail on their website, but, every channel helps. So, it's on the website. They will have orientation sessions. They will do pre-arrival webinars. And it's important that your students, if they're admitted to Koç University, that they join all of this and they read all that information carefully. And then this team also organizes a buddy program so that each of your students will be paired with an international student body that may be a Turkish or international student, which will be in contact with them via email and maybe also WhatsApp to make sure that any questions they have that can be answered. Finally, we wanted to let you know that we continue to organize also short programs for high school students that you may be interested in case you get queries from families who are interested in giving short-term experience programs to their children who are, not yet in year 12, but still in the early years of high school. So we do have, for example, a high school winter camp, which takes place online. Right now, it started yesterday. For 2 weeks, and they're in English, and the idea is that they provide an introduction to specific subjects such as psychology, programming, economics, biology, industrial engineering. The program fees are approximately $600. So the next edition of this winter camp would take place between January 2025, and the applications typically take place between November and January each year. And then for the upcoming summer, we'll continue our high school summer camps. We can provide more information to you if you're interested, if you have any students interested in developing their proficiency in English, so we have an English camp, or if they want to try out some university level courses to see if it's the right choice for them, specific subjects, then we have a pre-college camp and a summer academy in which, besides the courses, the academic element, they also have a lot of social fun activities to enjoy our campus and also to enjoy Istanbul. And the fees also approximately $600. Right, so we wanted to just remind you that our team, so Arina, Ahmed, also our colleague Chade and I will be traveling in 2024 to several locations in our specific regions. So Ahmed just came back from Kuwait last week, and we'll be traveling next to Jordan, UAE. I will be in Oman. He'll also be in Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Morocco. So if you want to schedule a meeting with us whilst we're in your country, or with representative offices of your agency whilst we're in those countries, please let us know, and we would be more than happy, if the schedule allows, of course, to have a meeting, do another training session, or organize an information session with interested students and families. We also have other resources for you as our partner agencies. You should receive twice a year a newsletter in which we try to summarize everything that I've just said and just put some interesting kind of content for you. And of course, any feedback on that newsletter is always welcome. If you think there is content that would be of more useful, or if you think it's too long, let us know. So we're always trying to improve our resources. We also have a resources for parents webpage because we know you do get a lot of questions from parents and families about, the country, the city, the university, the program, and so on. So we've tried to put the most useful parts of different, sections of our website into that page so that you can guide parents there accordingly. Of course, if you need any support in terms of how to use our online application system, we use the Dream Apply application system, then you can contact our team so that we can send you how-to videos in terms of how to log in, how to create applications on behalf of your students, how to track their status. But if you need any, just, a quick call to ask if you're not sure about something, please do let us know. And of course, we have a digital shared folder where we put promotional materials such as presentations, videos, campus pictures, flyers, and we're more than happy to create ad hoc or tailored content that you think will be useful. Of course, we're also on social media. Here you can see our contact details. And yes, so before I go to that, we do have social media channels in which, of course, you're more than welcome to tag us if you do content about Turkey or Istanbul, or more specifically about our university. We just kindly ask you to please check with us before publishing something, because we want to make sure that all the information is accurate and up to date. Very briefly, I just want to talk about our graduate programs, because we are trying to promote our professional master programs, some of which are very long, well-established programs that have very good reputation here in Turkey and also abroad, such as those in our Graduate School of Business. But we also have some new programs that we're very excited about, such as our Masters in Cybersecurity. our masters in global health, and then some joint masters that we are partners of as part of the unique European Alliance of Universities. So we have a new program, for example, which targets architects, civil engineers, called Redesigning the Post-Industrial City, REPIC. And we will be launching very soon another new joint master's program in super diversity in education, organizations, and society, with 7 other top-ranked universities around Europe. So we're excited about that, and we wanted to let you know that these are also options at Koç University. All right, so I think let's check this. So we're doing very well in terms of time to make sure that we have time to answer your questions. So if you have any questions, I would kindly ask you to please type them on the chat or also on the Q&A section, so that we can start going through those and answering them. I think we have about 10-15 minutes for questions. It seems that there are no questions, that we have been very clear on all the information we provided today. I will stop recording now.